Hello everyone, the Drizzle Season 2023 is here. We got a new trailer with some new information that I want to go through and try to point out a few hidden details, mainly a lot of those sub-open lines. Let's see what we can find. If you enjoy this analysis, be sure to subscribe. I'll have more upcoming news on this update in the future, and let's get started. One of the new features we got in this update was the ability to change some of your headgear, mainly being able to flip around which way you wear your caps. But there's another feature I think some people missed. It seems like you'll also be able to oversize some of the gear. You can see this shirt being made way larger, so it seems like there'll be more customization for the gear you're able to wear than what we've seen so far, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look at our first new stage, Crab Leg Capital. I actually really like how this looks so far. It's not a perfect layout, far from it, but there's a lot of unique positives here. The middle of the stage, while having some limited cover, is really open with a lot of different routes and ways around. In fact, this is one of the few stages to have two ink rails. It also has a pretty unique layout with an absurd amount of grates across the middle of the stage, including some that add the main route to get out of mid. It feels a bit more unique, and while it's not a full-on gimmick, it definitely gives it a unique sense of identity. The spawn region also seems fairly open, and as a whole, I think this layout is really solid. My two main complaints would be an absurd amount of uninkable walls, meaning there's a lot of one-way drops, especially outside of the right side of your spawn. The main issue with this stage is it seems like the only way to get through mid is this grate bridge. You couldn't even have the area with the rail right next to it as a ramp or something. Having a route on the opposite side of the map, maybe if one of these walls could be turned into a ramp on other ranked modes, would be really nice and make it an amazing stage. But as of now, I think this will still be pretty solid, and I'm looking forward to playing on it. The other new map reminds me a lot of Schellendorf Institute. While it doesn't have the glass, you can still see the kind of ceiling archetype that it has there, including the little ramps up there. It no longer seems connected, but it has a lot of cover, and it seems like a very strong position for weapons like backlines to be able to stand on. The main difference here compared to something like Schellendorf is you can actually climb there directly from mid, at least on one side. We can't tell for sure if you can actually get all the way around on the sides though, but I hope we can. If your only way through is middle, either climbing up that wall or going through underneath it, might be a problem. I think the side route's going to be really necessary given the amount of strong high ground on this map. Personally, I'm not as sure about this one. Schellendorf wasn't a stage I was particularly a fan of, but this layout has potential to be better than it. I think it's all going to come down to if the side really does have a unique route to go through, or if it's going to be really limited. We have to see. Also, as a final cool detail, from the first map, you can actually see Hagglefish way down there. That's really cool. I like this connected world type stuff. We have two new weapons here, a bucket and a splatling. The slosher is called the Dreadringer. It literally seems like a normal slosher with slightly less range that sloshes twice at once and kills in 3 hits. If the ink efficiency on this is solid, its paint output will probably be a bit better than something like Reg Slosher, which is a problem for it. It's hard to say if this will be better or worse at killing with it being a 3-hit, but I could see some flexibility because of the multiple shots. It being a 3-shot seems more than fair, and honestly, I'm kind of curious how this weapon's gonna play out. It's a very unique gimmick, and I think this will be a weapon that takes a lot of getting used to as to how it fires. The next new weapon is the Heavy Edit Splatling. Very weird name for it, I gotta say, and this seems like a hybrid of the Mini Splatling and Heavy. Its charge time and range seem to be in the middle of those two weapons, so I guess kinda similar to Nautilus, but this thing doesn't have a charge hold like that weapon. It seems to be a 4-shot kill from what I can tell, so I have no idea what's supposed to distinguish this thing from Nautilus. Obviously it seems a bit faster, but I have a feeling there's something else to this weapon that we don't know about. It just seems a little too simple at the moment. The Splatoon Twitter accounts usually give some more new info on these main weapons a few days after the trailer comes out, so I'll have to do a separate video on them once we get that extra info, but I would be on the lookout for some kind of gimmick. The weapon does look very strong though, and I find it hilarious that they're showing it off against a Dynamo, failing to kill with a vertical flick twice. That weapon is just sad. At least it exists now though. We also know this Splatling's full kit, which is Curling Bomb and Tacticooler. This feels like they're definitely shooting for a mini Splatling mid-range support type of deal, even more mid-range given that the Splatling has more of it. It's a very strong kit. Curling can be alright for it as a mobility option since you do have to charge a bit before firing, and Splatlings aren't that picky with their subs, so I think it works here, and it can also paint for its cooler. Cooler obviously is great right now, and great on Splatlings especially. I think this will be a very strong combination. This could be one of the best new weapons they've ever added, especially this early. Speaking of kits, we're only getting 8 new ones, not counting the 2 brand new weapons. I've seen some people have some copium theories that this card down here flipped over as an extra kit, but I got bad news for you guys. That's not a card, that's a deck. You can tell if you look at it well. It's a lot clearer in the second image where there's 2 decks, 1 on each side, what they're really supposed to be. Sorry guys. So yeah, only 8 kits. It's quite underwhelming, honestly. The amount has gotten smaller in pretty much every update by now. That being said, let's see what info we have about the sub weapons on these. Blob we can see super clearly with the 40% sub, which means there's only one thing it could be: line marker. This would be the second bucket to get dart. I've seen some Blob players be very excited about this. I personally don't think it's very good, but hey, I'm happy for them if they think it's good. Gold Dynamo Roller has a 70% sub. Suction's never been on Dynamo, so I doubt it. We already saw Curling Bomb on something else, and Splat Bomb's been on Gold Dynamo twice. So yeah, Splat Bomb seems very likely. We know someone on the orange team has a Sprinkler, and during the Rainmaker Challenge section, which by the way, Splatoon NA accidentally leaked yesterday, very funny, has a Sprinkler in it. You can see it on the wall right here, and right on the block behind it is a Tri-Stringer in the perfect spot to be able to throw it. Honestly, I like this sub for this weapon. It's not amazing at being able to cover for itself, but it's something it could set up to help its pain output, which is something Tri-Stringer does actually struggle with. It definitely fits that weapon pretty well, however, it's gonna really depend on what special it gets. If it's gonna charge something garbage, it's not gonna be worth it. But if this is getting like, I don't know, a crab, then yeah, that could be a very strong kit. Octoburst subline looks like about 55%, which makes me think of Autobomb. Finally, I've seen some people say that some weapons might have Inkjet due to the challenges thing. However, look at the wording of this challenge. This says Inkjets for everyone, and if you look at the gear on the Inkjets real closely, we can see that these are actually the same players that have been on both teams. So unless if they're adding a bunch of Inkjet weapons in this update, I think it's safe to say that it's not happening. But hey though, on the good news of things, this means compared to something like Too Many Trizukas, they may be reworking this challenge to where any weapon can be used and they'll all have this special instead of only the weapons with the special being locked to it. That would be really cool. Well, we can confirm quite a few new kits from the video we got this morning. The new Slosher has Suction Bomb and Reef Slider. Honestly, a pretty solid kit. Slider can still combo off of the damage from Bucket, but you know, not the best special, still a solid option. Brella has Autobomb Inkjet. This is like a top 5 kits they could have given the weapon. It's actually crazy. I'll talk about it on the second channel soon, I promise. I think it's got potential, especially if the main gets buffed. Dynamo Roller has Super Chump, which is weird because Bow also has Super Chump. That's right, we're getting 2 chump weapons in one update, and I like both these kits. I don't think it's better than the current Dynamo kit, but for the bow, I think it is easily better than its first kit. It'll help its pain output a lot, and its bow shots will be able to combo off the chump damage, which I think should be pretty interesting. GooTuber has Fizzy Bomb. That's pretty strong. We have to see what special it gets, obviously. Goo has been very lucky with kits in this game. And finally, due to process of elimination, we know the special of the Heavy Spiraling, bow, and we know the Blob can't have rain on the field because the vanilla kit has it, which means Octoburst Nouveau has Inkstorm. Really makes me wonder what weapon will get Kraken in this update. I feel like Machine will get Whale as a reference to the Table Turf card and it having it in the old trailers. So that would leave Blob, GooTuber, and Ballpoint as the candidates, and Ballpoint wouldn't make much sense since we just put it on Heavy Deco. I also want to point out here that one of these weapons is probably getting Crab since it's never been added in an update before, and if it's Ballpoint, it'll be very funny to see it with 2 good kits. Honestly, while there's not too many kits so far, we're seeing quite a lot of strong ones, so that's nice at least. However, it's hard to talk about the kits without addressing the elephant in the room. Yeah, we've only added 8 alternate kits, which means right now, counting the 2 new main weapons, there's 22 weapons without a second kit. At the rate they're going, I wouldn't be surprised if it takes all the seasons for every weapon to get a second kit. We only got 4 of them left, and if they keep slightly slowing it down, yeah, it could make it, especially given new main weapons. I hope it's not the case. I still hope 3rd kits are happening, but but it's hard to say at this point. That's really all I gotta say analysis-wise. I don't have too much for this one. I wish I could be more positive about this, but I gotta be honest here at the end. The amount of content for a 1-year anniversary update is really low, and honestly I'm pretty disappointed with it, especially with the kits which just seem to be getting lower and lower in every update. I'm gonna try my best to really make some cool content during this time, and for those of you who are supporting me through this, I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get some more extra info that wasn't revealed in this trailer, and we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.